In late 2020, pharmaceutical companies began distributing COVID-19 vaccines across the United States at a velocity never attempted in modern medicine. Millions of doses moved from factories to clinics in a matter of weeks. As those shots went into arms, a massive wave of safety reports began pouring into government databases. The sheer volume of incoming data was staggering, overwhelming the systems meant to process it. The primary destination for these reports was VAERS, the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. You can think of VAERS as a giant passive complaint box, where doctors, patients, and manufacturers drop notes about any possible side effects following a vaccination. To make sense of this mountain of notes, the FDA relies on a standard statistical algorithm called MGPS. Its job is simple: scan the entire complaint box and look for mathematical clusters that indicate a real danger signal hidden inside the noise. But we need to look at what happens when the math designed to protect the public develops a massive blind spot right when it is needed most. Before we dive into the data, a quick thanks to today's sponsor, Shasta Unfiltered. They provide the North State with honest, independent news and entertainment. You can scan the code on screen to subscribe today and support their journalism. And while you're at it, take a second to hit the like button and subscribe to The Explainer for more deep dives. Ultimately, the safety of millions of Americans quietly rested on a single mathematical filter. Under the immense pressure of the COVID-19 rollout, that filter began to buckle. The flaw inside the MGPS tool comes down to a statistical quirk known as masking. When massive volumes of reports flood in simultaneously for multiple vaccines, the system's baseline comparison gets artificially bloated. Because this threshold for normal is suddenly much higher, legitimate safety signals get entirely eclipsed by the sheer volume of surrounding data. Imagine trying to isolate the sound of one specific fire alarm going off in a building. Now imagine trying to do that while dozens of other alarms are ringing right next to you at the exact same time. The noise drowns out the signal. The volume of reports generated by the rollout made it statistically impossible for the standard algorithm to hear the danger signals it was programmed to find. By March 2021, an FDA senior medical officer and data mining expert named Dr. Anna Zarfman recognized that the standard tool was failing to read this influx of data correctly. She took a proactive step. Partnering directly with the statistician who originally invented the MGPS method, she ran an upgraded, smarter algorithm called RGPS. This newer approach was specifically built to calculate and cut through the masking effect. When the baseline adjusted downward, the test identified 49 extreme examples of algorithmic masking. Piercing through the noise exposed over 20 new safety signals, including alerts for severe conditions like sudden cardiac death, pulmonary infarction, and Bell's palsy. The records detailing these risks were already stored on government servers. They only became visible once the masking adjustment was applied. Internal documents show that instead of deploying the RGPS fix, senior FDA officials moved to stop the work and suppress the findings. Dr. Peter Marks, the director of the FDA's Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research, dismissed the upgraded, accurate data as a major distraction. He explicitly stated his concern that revealing the true safety signals would only feed anti-vaccination rhetoric. The retaliation was swift. Dr. Zarfman was ordered to stop generating and sharing her reports, and her internal access to run these specific analyses was actively restricted. When faced with a choice, leadership chose to override objective scientific safety protocols to protect the political narrative surrounding the vaccine rollout. Fast forward to April 29, 2026. This suppression of data was made public with the explosive release of an interim congressional report titled Unmasked. U.S. Senator Ron Johnson spearheaded the investigation that exposed these internal FDA decisions. The report's conclusion is straightforward. Top health officials knew their tracking system was flawed. They were handed a ready-made, functional fix by their own experts, and they deliberately chose to stick with the broken algorithm. It is important to note that a VAERS report does not explicitly prove a vaccine caused a specific medical issue. However, these signals are vital because they highlight exactly which areas require urgent, formal study. By ignoring these signals, millions of Americans were denied the fullest possible picture of potential medical risks during the largest medical rollout in national history. To read the full details of the Unmasked Senate report, you can visit shastaunfiltered.com. True public health relies entirely on radical transparency. Choosing to hide inconvenient data ultimately destroys the exact public trust those agencies are supposed to protect.